Greetings from our Temecula studios. We welcome you to the Hardwood Report. I'm Ryder Bullock. Happy Mother's Day to all of the wonderful mothers out there. And we have the NBA Draft Lottery coming up in just a half hour. And I will tell you right now, this thing has become one of the biggest television events in the league outside of the playoffs. That's where the NBA is now. Everybody talks about rings. Everybody talks about dynasties. But half the league spends February, March, and April staring at percentages and combinations and hoping for one lucky bounce. And this year, whoa, the stakes are enormous because this isn't just a good draft. This is one of those drafts the league believes can shape the next decade. A.J. DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson. These are names executives have been circling for years. And what makes this fascinating is that you have teams in completely different situations all desperate for the exact same thing. You got teams that are rebuilding. You got teams that are trying to avoid a rebuild. You got teams trying to cheat the rebuild. And you got teams that, got injured and ended up here because of those disasters. And that's why today matters. So let's start with the biggest story in the lottery. And honestly, maybe the most interesting franchise situation in this whole league right now. And I think that's the Indiana Pacers and the Los Angeles Clippers. This is unbelievable. The Pacers traded a protected pick to the Clippers in that Ivica Zubac deal. If Indiana lands the top 4 pick, they keep the pick. If it slides to 5 or 6, it goes to the Clippers. So think about that for a minute. Okay, what does that mean? Well, Indiana was in the finals less than a year ago. Halliburton tears the Achilles in Game 7. They basically punt the season away, and now they're sitting there with a 52% chance to land a top 4 pick if they get lucky. Suddenly, they had Darren Peterson next to Halliburton. Or maybe it's Caleb Wilson. Maybe it's Cameron Boozer. Maybe it's A.J. DeBonsa. And either one is going to make this team in a different light. Because now you're talking about a team that maybe could dominate the East for not just next year, but the few years to come. If they don't get lucky, well, the Clippers steal the pick, and suddenly Kawhi Leonard gets another running mate without the Clippers even tanking themselves. That's a franchise-altering swing. And by the way, the Clippers still owe Oklahoma City draft equity from the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade. So imagine the Thunder getting another lottery jump from a Clippers pick. The league office would need security. People would lose their minds. Now, let's go to Washington. The Wizards have basically lived in the lottery for a decade. Different coaches, different front offices, same results. But now they finally may have a direction. They trade for Trae Young. They bring in Anthony Davis. And now they're praying for A.J. DeBonsa. And DeBonsa is viewed as the cleanest number 1 prospect in this draft. Big wing, two-way ability, star mentality, franchise player potential. And honestly, Washington needs a face. They have talent, but they don't have an identity. DeBonsa would become the identity immediately. But here's the thing with Washington, and this is important. If they don't land one of those top 2 guys, suddenly the rebuild doesn't feel nearly as secure, because in the NBA, there are stars. And then there are future top 5 players in the league stars. That's the difference tonight. Now, Brooklyn is fascinating too, because remember, the Nets last year had 5 first-round picks. They've spent the last 2 years basically resetting the organization after the Durant, Kyrie, Harden chaos. They took back control of their picks. They've been patient. They've got cap space. And now they need the guy. Okay, not a nice player, not a good young piece. They need the guy, and they believe that guy is Cameron Boozer. And I'll tell you, Boozer feels like a Brooklyn player. He's tough, he's skilled, he's smart, he's a plug-in player, and a son of an NBA veteran, high IQ. You can see him fitting in immediately. But if Brooklyn slides, now all the pressure goes onto free agency and the trade market. And this is where the NBA gets dangerous because desperate teams make desperate decisions. Now let me get to the team everybody keeps talking about, and that's Dallas. The Mavericks are one of the strangest organizations in basketball right now. You've got Cooper Flagg already there, Kyrie Irving hurt, Anthony Davis gone, Masai Ujiri now running the operation, and Dallas does not control its own picks for years. So this lottery matters more for Dallas than people realize, because if they land another elite young guard, suddenly they can build around Flagg long term. If not, they're trying to win immediately while also preparing for the future. That's the hardest thing to do in sports. You cannot serve two timelines forever. Ask Golden State. Speaking of the Warriors are sitting there with only a 9% chance at a top 4 pick, but if they jump, oh, mama. Steph Curry getting one more elite young player changes everything. Jimmy Butler's hurt, of course, but he's coming back. Curry's aging, we know that, but the Warriors don't think like rebuilding teams. They think like opportunistic teams. Steve Kerr's got a contract extension, and that's why tonight matters for them. Now, the other team nobody's talking enough about is Atlanta. Okay. Now, Atlanta quietly had a terrific season until Game 5 of the Knicks, but that's beside the point. But and Atlanta had a great season because of that New Orleans trade last year. They're sitting there with incredible flexibility. That Derek Queen trade might end up becoming one of the most important trades of the decade, depending on what happens in a matter of minutes. The Hawks are sitting there with nearly a 40% implied chance at a top 4 pick. When you combine the probabilities from Milwaukee and New Orleans, that's massive. And the Hawks already have a playoff caliber roster. That's how dynasties get built. You win while also adding lottery talent. That's why Oklahoma City became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now let me say you something about this. And we talk about this every year. We dance around it. The league can deny it all at once. Fans argue, Semetics, but we all watched the same season. Teams shut guys down. Teams rested healthy players. Teams mysteriously developed hamstring tightness. Okay? And why? Why? Why are we all of a sudden getting hamstring tightness in March? Well, because this draft scared people. And it scared them because executives know the league may change the lottery system next year. Oh, wait, they already did. So this might be the last great chance for teams to intentionally bottom out and get rewarded. That's why this lottery has so much anxiety attached to it. And let me tell you something else. There are going to be conspiracy theories on the internet today no matter what happens. If Dallas jumps, conspiracy. If the Spurs jump, conspiracy. If the Warriors jump, conspiracy. If Oklahoma City gets another gift, the internet may explode and you're going to have to put armed guards in front of Adam Silver's office. That's what the lottery has become. It's not just basketball anymore. It's mythology. It's paranoia. It's hope. It's franchise survival. And honestly, the NBA loves it because for one afternoon in May, every bad team believes tomorrow can change forever, and sometimes it actually does. And believe it or not, that is not the only thing happening in the NBA today. We have two big NBA playoff games today. And game one is the Knicks and the Sixers coming up at the coming up immediately following the NBA draft lottery. And this series, Knicks Sixers, has not looked competitive for long stretches. It just hasn't. The Knicks are up 3-0, and they've basically controlled the tone of this series from the middle of game one. And now the question isn't, can Philadelphia win the series? Nobody believes that anymore. The question now is whether the Sixers have enough emotionally and physically power to extend this thing one more night. And honestly, I don't think they do. I think the Knicks finish today. Now let's start with the obvious reason, and that's Jalen Brunson. He's been the best player in the series by a mile. That's where this starts. When you get into the second round of the playoffs, eventually every series becomes simple. You talk schemes, rotations, bench points, transition defense, whatever you want. Eventually it comes down to who has the best closer, who controls tempo, and who dictates the game in winning time. That's Brunson. He's averaging superstar level basketball right now, and Philadelphia has no answer for him once he gets downhill. None. You watch the fourth quarter in this series, and the Knicks look calm while the Sixers looked rushed. That tells you everything. Brunson's playing at his own speed. He's getting into the paint. He's manipulating help defenders. He's creating those kick-out threes for Anunoby, Hart, and Bridges. And maybe most importantly, he's making Philadelphia defend for full possessions on every single trip. That wears you down over a 7-game series. Now, the second big reason the Knicks are about to sweep this series is defense, and I don't think people fully appreciate how good New York's been defensively in this matchup. The Knicks allowed just 94 points Friday night. Philadelphia shot under 45% again. And outside of Tyrese Maxey having occasional bursts, the Sixers' offense has looked stuck in the mud for most of the series. Why? Well, because New York's wings are suffocating. Mr. Scrappy Josh Hart has been everywhere. Mikal Bridges has completely changed possessions with his length, and even if OG Anunoby isn't 100% with that hamstring, his physicality still matters because Philadelphia's offense depends heavily on the rhythm perimeter creation. The Knicks disrupt rhythm better than almost anybody left in these playoffs. Now here's another thing nobody's talking enough about. The Knicks are winning the possession battle overwhelmingly. That matters in playoff basketball. They rebound better. They defend without fouling. They force tougher shots, and they are getting cleaner offensive possessions almost every trip down the floor. Philadelphia wants this game ugly and fast. The Knicks are making it ugly and controlled. That's a major difference. So let's talk about the Sixers because this is where the frustration starts. Tyrese Maxey is trying his best. I will give him that. Maxey's averaging over 24 points over the last 10 games, and he's still attacking, but the Knicks have forced him into exhausting basketball. Every shot feels difficult. Every drive feels crowded. Every possession feels like life work, and that's playoff defense. And Kelly Oubre gave them good energy in Game 3, but you cannot rely on Kelly Oubre to carry your offense in a must-win playoff game against an elite defense. That's not reality. Quentin Grimes has battled. Edgecombe has shown flashes in transition, playing far better than any rookie I've seen in the playoffs. But Philadelphia still has too many empty possessions. And let me tell you something, the fast break numbers for Philly look nice on paper. But New York has done an unbelievable job taking that away in the half court. The Knicks are forcing Philadelphia to execute offense patiently. And once the Sixers have to operate methodically, the cracks start showing immediately. That's where this game gets dangerous for Philly today because desperation basketball can go one of two ways. Either you come out flying emotionally and hit shots early, or you tighten up. And I think Philadelphia tightens up. Why? Because the pressure is enormous now. You're at home, you're down 3-0. Everybody in the building knows the season's hanging by a thread. Every missed shot gets louder. Every Knicks run feels heavier. And meanwhile, New York is playing loose because they know they've already broken the Sixers mentally in this series. That matters. Now, let's get to the keys to the game. Number one, Brunson against pressure defense. Philadelphia is going to try to trap him early today. I'd be stunned if they didn't. They have to force the ball out of his hands more aggressively because allowing him to dictate every possession is suicide. But here's the problem. Brunson has seen every coverage now. You blitz him, he finds Hart cutting baseline. Drop coverage, he gets into the paint. Switch, he hunts mismatches immediately. That's what elite playoff guards do. Number two, 3-point shooting. Philadelphia has to win the 3-point battle significantly today. Not slightly, significantly. Because they are not winning this game inside. New York's too physical, too disciplined, too connected defensively. So Philly needs one of those games where Maxey hits 5 threes and somebody like a Bohr or Grimes catches fire. Otherwise, the math becomes impossible. Number 3 is pace. This is the entire game for Philadelphia. If the game is played in the low 100s, New York wins comfortably. If Philly can create chaos, turnovers, transition opportunities, and quick offense, they at least have a chance to make the Knicks uncomfortable. But the Knicks have controlled the pace almost the entire series, and that's why they're up 3-0. And the final key is emotional composure. The Knicks know Philly's going to throw a punch early. The crowd's going to be nuts for the first 8 minutes. Can New York absorb that run without panic? I think they can, because this Knicks team has become incredibly mature. That's the biggest difference between this year and past years. They don't unravel anymore. Now, as far as tonight's prediction goes, I think the Knicks in this 6 to 8 point range, something like 108-100. I think Brunson controls the fourth quarter again. I think Hart gives them huge rebounding possessions, and I think Philadelphia eventually runs out of answers offensively. And once again, we are going to walk away talking about the Knicks as a legitimate championship threat. Not a nice story, not a gritty team, not an overachiever, a real contender. Because when you defend like this, rebound like this, and have the best closer on the floor, you can beat anybody. And today I think they finish the sweep. And what a great game it is going to be. Knicks and the Sixers. Game 4 today, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. 7:30 p.m. on NBC in Peacock, San Antonio, and Minnesota. There will be another episode of the Hardwood Report tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will, of course, have halftime updates for both games, and that is the next time we are going to see you. Enjoy the NBA Draft Lottery. Enjoy New York and Philadelphia. We will see you at halftime.